Oh, we're getting into so much. It's the first episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Rings and Rambles. Hey, that's Nick. I'm Kevin. You may have seen me on lives and on the streams and the things and all and stuff, but you're with us right now. You can go ahead and get into the comments below. The biggest wrestling news stories of the day, and we're going to ramble about them a little bit off the cuff. Drew McIntyre. Nick over there in SmackDown with the SmackDown. Sacktown with the SmackDown. I got to say it too fast. He's over in California. I'm in Chicago, the greatest wrestling city in the world, and we'll prove it in a few weeks yet again. We'll talk about Drew McIntyre's status, that big match between Roman Reigns and L.A. Knight. And all the different stuff. Well, you got the yeahs in. All right, you're on yeah duty. For this episode, Nick, you're on yeah duty. If I'm hosting, you have to do the yeahs. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Simple stuff. So getting into it, this is a new show. We're going to get a little bit more fun. We're going to play with it. This is our first episode. We'll figure out format. So if you're just watching, go ahead and hit the like button. Get in the comments below. We'll put your comments on screen if you guys are with us live as well. I can see a couple of you guys joining us here. This is the first time we're doing it, so it's very kind of loosey-goosey. We're looking like we're going to do this every Monday. I think Mondays is a good time to do it because we're ahead of Vince Russo, bro. All right, and he's on after Raw, and we have Dutch Mantel and all those guys. You can check them out on our other YouTube channel, Wrestle Binge, or our Facebook stream, or in your podcasting ears. We're going to podcast the show. It'll all be in one feed, so you don't have to go and subscribe to different podcasts. You get it all in one feed. So let's get right into it. We have a big card here. WWE Crown Jewel, the very lucrative money-making deal that they have with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which, you know, when they started this in 2018, it was pretty controversial. I remember they did that first show, that awful scandal with the journalist came out, and it was, I know you were involved with sports media at the time. It was the number one thing where everyone who was in, like, they called it legitimate sports media and outside of wrestling was asking me about it. But now, you know, some years later, and then you have the unrest in the Middle East and stuff like that. But it seems like WWE's operating like business as usual, and it's big business in Saudi Arabia right now. Riyadh season, they just had that big fight there with Fury versus, who am I thinking? Ngannou. So, I mean, a lot of big stuff going on in Saudi Arabia. They're spending a lot of money. WWE's going there once again. Do you think the vibes are a little bit better for WWE in Saudi Arabia right now?
I think they're getting better every single time they go over there. I don't know. There's definitely been controversy and in the recent too, but I think this time it's even with everything going on over there, it's a little bit, less tense. I think they've done it enough. They know the deal. It's, been ran over and over again now that they know what to expect, and the superstars who are going to go there, it's going to be, a breeze for them. It's not going to be anything different from the recent times that they've been over there, is what I think, at least.
Would love to hear from fans, because I know there's a lot of mixed opinions about this, especially for fans we've heard in different countries. I've heard from some fans in Saudi Arabia. They just love that WWE's there. I've heard some other people in other parts of the world that they don't like that WWE's there. I've heard some people who have certain political beliefs themselves that they don't like it. And I don't mind having those conversations, Some fans here in the comments saying WWE gets richer every time they go. Yes, this is a very lucrative deal. To put the numbers that are kind of well reported, it is one of the most lucrative direct to a market kind of deals that WWE's ever done. $100 million is the reported number per year. 2 shows per year, around $50 million a show. And this is a 10-year agreement. They're about halfway through that deal. So that is a big chunk of change. That was before the TV deals they got and all the different things here. People saying also the wrestlers make money. Yes, the wrestlers make a lot of money. I recall quoting Chris Jericho, who got to do the Greatest Royal Rumble, which I think was like their first or second show in Saudi, and he said that was the most money he ever got paid for a single match. And he was just in a Rumble. You know what I mean? He was just in a Rumble, so it was kind of like shocking to hear that. And I think, like, what are people making to go over there? I mean, Undertaker just went over there just to hang out at this Tommy Fury fight with Vince McMahon recently. And Vince McMahon's calling it their home. We're back home. I heard some people losing their minds about that on the internet. But this is still a big card. This is a big card with some big matches on it. Roman Reigns is on the show. Roman Reigns is not on every pay-per-view. They can't get Roman Reigns on every pay-per-view. They have WWE GOAT. They're calling him the GOAT every time he comes out to the ring now. John Cena, he's on the show. Some consequential matches, I think, too. What do you think about this? Let's start right at the card. Roman Reigns, longest reigning champion in modern history. I know we have so many people at Sportskeeda who lose their mind on everything Roman Reigns, and I get it. I get it. But there's a growing sentiment of people that are saying you simply put the title on him too long. He's taking on an LA Knight right now who is red hot. I mean, he is easily the most over babyface on SmackDown.
Yeah, he is. And, I think this is awesome that he's getting his shot here at Roman Reigns because he hasn't even held a title on the main roster yet. So this just proves how over he is with the crowd and everything. So I love this for LA Knight. Although, if you ask me, I think the title stays with Roman Reigns. I just don't see it coming off of his waist quite yet. I do see it happening soon, though. But, who knows? Who knows what they have up their sleeve? They don't have, Vince is kind of away from creative now. And, we'll see what happens, but if I had to give my guess on this match, I think it's going to be a great match, but I think we talked about it, before the episode started. The bloodline is not really on the card besides Roman Reigns, so I expect to see, Solo Sikoa is there too. They are. All right, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Don't worry. I would have thumbed you through the screen. I would have done one of the Samoan spikes right to the neck right there.
What I meant to say was specifically Jimmy, and I think that he's going to show up and make his presence in this match to once again help out Roman Reigns to retain his title. I just see that going down this time once again.
Let me know if you're watching on demand. Who do you got, Roman or Knight? I know there's a lot of people that just Roman became so good at being a bad guy that he just got over, and there's people that just like him now. They just like him being evil and mean to everyone. It's very Trumpy, in a way. they just like that he aggravates people.
They like the bad
I got political. Yeah, all that stuff. But the thing is, like, there's that school of thought. And I heard our coworker, so I had to call him a coworker, Vince Russo, kind of declare, bro, they're gonna do what they do. And this is not me making fun of Vince, but it's just when he said, he made a strong point. They're gonna do what they feel is their inside theory, and I get this approach. I don't know. I know Vince doesn't get it, but he didn't like it. He would have a different approach. But the approach is, well, if you're having this big match with Roman Reigns, and you have a good showing, and you don't win, and you get to do this main event with him, isn't that enough? You know what I mean? Do we have to put the title on some? And I don't know, but I just think for Roman, it's just every match. I mean, I don't perceive it in the sense of you get at Roman, and because you lose, you immediately go fall all the way down the mountain. Right. I didn't get that impression. I know everyone said, "Oh, Cody's buried now." I was like, "How is he buried? He just had the biggest match of the year. He had the biggest match of his life." Yeah, he lost, and they had to screw him to win. All right, and I get that, and I know the idea is all these other things, and yeah, I don't think Reigns is losing the title. I really, really don't think he's losing the title. But the thing is, how many times in this weird way where they've kind of worked themselves into a corner, how many times can you have him cheat to win? How many times can you have somebody else interfere to help him win? And you pinned him. You pinned him in July. Roman has not been pinned by anyone in 3.5 years, and he got pinned in a tag team match. All right, how can we work around this and make it even more clear that Roman can talk the game, but he's becoming more desperate? And to me, that's more entertaining, is if Roman gets onto there, but it's clear he couldn't win the match. If they make it seem that there was absolutely no way he could win the match on his own, and then he's going to go out there and talk that game. No, LA has to look like the guy who got this robbed from him, who's motivated, who's mad. I'm going to say this. This may be crazy. LA Knight will win this match.
Oh,
but he will not pin. He will not pin Roman. It'll be some type of DQ finish. It'll be some type of count-out finish. Likely he'll get robbed. Likely someone will come out there and cost him the match, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think LA Knight leaves Saudi Arabia without his head held up high, with a sense of, oh no, I'm the real champ right now. I'm the real. for lack of a better phrase, the people's champion. You know what I mean? And maybe he says that. Maybe that'd be a fun thing to bring up. But it'll be interesting. It doesn't look like you're going to get Roman on Survivor Series in a few weeks, and it doesn't look like, I can tell you from being in Chicago, with the way the tickets are being sold for this, doesn't look like they need the payoff of this later on. I think the payoff is maybe Royal Rumble or something like that.
Yeah,
LA Knight and Roman.
I could see that definitely, and that's a very interesting point that you brought up. You know, LA Knight winning, but not walking away with the title, but still getting that huge, even a bigger push than he's already got right now, and then setting it up for Royal Rumble because, like you said, he's not at Survivor Series, which is strange to me. You know, he's the champ. I feel like Survivor Series is one of the biggest.
It's one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year.
Yeah, so I feel like he should be there, but since he's not, like you said, probably a bigger payoff for Royal Rumble. And I could see Roman Reigns losing the title at Royal Rumble, maybe before WrestleMania. Everybody says he's going to lose it at WrestleMania if he's going to do it, or if he's going to lose it, it's going to be at SummerSlam. I think maybe Royal Rumble might be the time. I don't know.
I mean, they do want to keep you guessing, but then I guess at some point, I think predictability is an okay thing if we get to that point where, you know, we're talking about, Roman Reigns with the title at WrestleMania. You know, we thought he was going to lose it last year, and they kind of caught us. So, I mean, yeah, I also don't think predictable is bad. When some people just think something, it's too predictable. I don't think predictable is bad. Go ahead and hit the like. Let us know what you guys are thinking of the show, how you like it. We're working on it. It's a new thing. Looks like every Monday we'll be doing this. We'll be riffing with you. And if you're with us live, we want to hear from you. If you're with us on demand, we'll be responding as well. I'll be in there in the comments. Of course, and Nick, if they want to follow you on the things, where do they go?
They can on the X. They can find me.
X gonna give it to you.
X gonna give it to you at nharksen24. That's at NHARKSEN24.
You can follow me at Kev Kellam on the Twitter machine, the X machine. I still call it Twitter. It's not changing. Yeah. I don't think that X name is caught on yet. And you can get me on the Instagram at Kev Kellam6. But follow Sportskeeda on everything though.
Yes.
Running down this card though. I know when they started doing these the sporting exchange here with Saudi Arabia and doing, you know, people call it whitewashing the sports and all this different stuff. They were bringing out shows there that were really built on names of the past. John Cena's on this show. We'll talk about him. But overall, you and I were saying this too. This card's a really good, like on paper, a really good show coming up here on Friday.
Yeah, it's stacked. I mean, I didn't even initially realize.
Oh, this is Saturday. This will be Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Show. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what I had here. So, So up top, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, big match. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And we'll talk about Drew here in a little bit. And we'll kind of get into the status of Drew because I do think this will kind of play into this. And we'll get a clear idea of where WWE is really going based on the result of this match and where they're going with Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre returned to WWE in the summer of 2023, and that followed him losing a triple threat match to Gunther, who retained with Sheamus there involved at WrestleMania. He was the WWE champion twice during the pandemic and was the guy who won it, unfortunately, at that WrestleMania just a few weeks after the lockdown in 2020, and had the momentum and won the Royal Rumble. And I don't think he ever really got that main event momentum back. But I do think he had great matches and he was a highly respectable guy. And he's a bigger star than he was a couple of years ago, but he just seems like he's just been pegged down. He had Clash at the Castle. I remember a lot of people thought WWE first show in the UK in 20, 30 years, put the title on a UK guy. And also I think a lot of, American fans, international fans, no matter where you are, would have got behind him too. But now you have this guy who has this chip on his shoulder against a champion in Seth Rollins, who they've kind of portrayed as a guy who's got a bad back. He's getting through these matches. They're saying he has a back injury. And you have a Drew McIntyre who, in reality, could have his deal coming up at some point in 2024. Ooh. Seth Rollins as well, but we kind of have a time frame here as Fightful Select reporting today that there's about 5 months left on his deal, and that is rollover time from when he was gone. Does the result of this match indicate the direction that WWE is going to go in? Because this is for their new WWE World Heavyweight Championship that they had to make for Monday Night Raw. Do they have to get the belt on Drew? Is it time to switch the title? If you're not going to switch the belt with Roman and LA Knight on this card, are you going to do it with Drew McIntyre and have him take it off Seth Rollins? Because I think you do. I really, really think you do. And if Drew is going to go full bad guy and turn on everybody and really kick the chip off his shoulder, he has all the motivation to say, F you, I don't have to be a good guy anymore. I don't need your respect. He's been, he's been peeling back the onion in that regard. Like, hey, I don't need any of you people anymore. Or like, I don't need to be with this guy. I don't need to tag with that guy. I don't want, like, now, and W kind of has to tell the stories that way. What do you think? Do they have to put the belt on Drew now? Because I kind of think they do.
I mean, me personally, I think that they don't have to put the belt on him, but I think that they have to re-sign him. I think that they need to keep Drew McIntyre in the WWE regardless of this outcome. But I think that Drew does walk away the champion. And there's something interesting to me that I saw this past week. Him and Seth Rollins both got approached by Rhea Ripley, and they both agreed to not have the bloodline involved in their match. To me, I think that that means that the bloodline is going to get involved in the match no matter what. And I think, Drew's going to go full heel turn, but I think maybe he's saying, I don't need this help. I think he accepts the help, becomes champion, and maybe is in the Judgment Day.
You meant to say Judgment Day.
Judgment Day is what I meant to say, but
threw me off for a second. I was like, what?
Yeah, not bloodline.
Speaking for that.
first live episode here.
Yeah, it's
in
a
while.
I also think there'll be some type of post-match thing in Crown Jewel. It sets up stuff for Survivor Series, which have kind of been teasing of some element of Bloodline Judgment Day working together against a collective of other people versus them. They're going to do War Games. They haven't announced War Games. I think War Games is something they have to say now in terms of the double cage and all the different stuff like that. And it's been reported, but they've not said the word War Games on television. They said let the games begin and blah, blah, blah. But, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I do think this will be indicative of Drew's future, though. I think if they do put a title on him, even if it's for a little while, it's a real storyline sign to the fans and people that know, like you and I, and WWE's, they're aware of that. And Endeavor is aware of that, the new owners. And I think they'll make a sign here. Hey, if you're a big free agent, we trust you. We're going to put a title on you. And if they put a title on him, even if they don't have him sign, I think that's a good indication of, hey, we're going to come to you. We have a title on you. We respect you and stuff like that. And they did it before. They put the belt on him during the pandemic. That was a really hard time to be a world champion. I thought Drew did as good a job as he could. And now I think it's time for a change. I just did a big video about this that's up right now on this same channel, on the Sportskeeda Wrestling channel. So go ahead and give that a look.
Yeah, Seth's definitely held it for long enough. And he's, done good with the new championship belt. And I think that Drew is definitely strong enough, and it's his time. And to turn heel with it would be great. So love to see it.
And also, you're getting Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. I know they're saying Seth has a bad back, but come on. I think those matches with Nakamura were underrated. I thought both matches were good, very good, and upgraded Nakamura, even though he didn't win. But I also think it's a new title. He won it last time in Saudi Arabia. I think he can lose it this time. It's all right. And the people casual talk saying Drew needs to get another run as champion. Casual talk, I agree. Is this the time to do it though? Do you want to shake things up? I mean, they haven't really shaken anything up with the titles in a while, at least with the men's titles. It's been the guys they have with those singles belts right now for a while.
Well, Saudi Arabia pays them enough. They might as well do a title change over there for him,
Hey, brother, we want to see something happen. We're not paying for a house show with so results. Exactly. Over the women's side, the fatal 5-way for the women's world title. This will see Rhea Ripley defending against Nia Jax, who returned to WWE some time ago. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, the whole storyline with Rhea Ripley, who's like in every other segment on Monday Night Raw, she's on at least like 40% of the show. In some either a backstage segment, an open segment, ringside, for a match. She doesn't wrestle a whole lot, but they'll have her wrestle now and then. And there was some, fear of an injury that she was wrestling through after WrestleMania. And the last time they were in Saudi Arabia, she had that blink and you missed it match with Natalya. So this is, Saudi Arabia, when they have the women out there, it's a different experience. The women have to dress a different way. I don't think that affects what they do in the ring per se. They did some wild stuff like Bianca Belair putting Bayley on a golf cart and like all those fun things. They'll go out there, but it's different. And I always see fans talking about it here. It was saying, thank you. Don't do that. Don't do that, Biggs. What a name. Don't do that, Biggs. Is that a sentence or is that just a name? All right. I'd love to hear why. Go ahead and sound off on us here. In this one, Rhea retains. Maybe someone else gets a moment of shine or something like that. Maybe Nia Jax gets to wreck some people, but Rhea retains. We don't see this belt going anywhere, at least for a significant period of time. She is over like a rover.
Yeah, she's crazy popular right now. Kevin, you know that I coach baseball, and a lot of my kids don't watch wrestling.
But they know Rhea Ripley.
They all know Rhea Ripley. They all know Rhea Ripley. And so that just shows you her star power right now. And yeah, I do not see her losing this match at all. So yeah, Rhea's got to retain. Mommy's got to stay on top. All right.
Any person I know that has remote like goth leanings of any kind has brought up Rhea Ripley to me. Like, and I'm a stand-up comic. I live in Chicago, like this like hipster area. So I know a lot of like rock people, and I've literally had people who don't know wrestling or haven't watched in a long time, like the Laps fan, right? Yeah. And they will bring the phone to me while I'm at a bar, and they'll be like, "Hey, I know you like do the wrestling thing, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "This girl, like, she's really tall, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And this isn't just dudes saying, "Oh, she's gorgeous" or something like that. It's women too. They're like, "Oh, I think she's great," or I love her whole style and everything like that. So. That's a casual fan conversation. Then you know what I mean. You're getting people to turn their heads when they're not a hardcore wrestling fan that goes to Sportskeeda.com and like reads wrestling pages and stuff like that. I get that. And for hardcore wrestling fans who are like, "Oh, I've already had enough of it," you're like, "I've been watching it for 3 months and I want to see it change." Like, recognize real, dude. Like she is over.
Yes.
You know, and you all wanted the belt on her WrestleMania and you're already done with it. Come on now. They ain't happening. Yeah. No. This is Triple H's WWE. Everyone gets a long title reign. Everyone gets a long ass title reign. Gets a meat on that title reign around the waist.
By the way, that pop live at WrestleMania when she won was massive. That was insane. Can
we talk about WrestleMania? Can we talk about no, just specifically you and I at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
So I fly out to WrestleMania. You're in Sacramento, so a couple hours north, right?
Yep. About 6 hours north.
Yeah, but easier for you to come down.
Like, so easy.
Just drive down, right? I had to fly out. Yeah. And we had texted and we knew it would be hard to run into each other, you know, at this show that has 80,000 freaking people at it. And it's 2 nights in a row. Both nights in a row, you and I run into each other at a crowd of 80,000 people.
And at the randomest moments, too.
The most random moments. And I literally walk up to you and I'm filming stuff. I'm like, "Nick, you want to hop in this shot?" And literally, it was like, I didn't say hi. I didn't say hello. I was like, "Get in here. Let's cut this." You want to do another take?
It was incredible. I couldn't believe that happened. And we ended up meeting
no
up.
Coordination. No coordination. No,
at
like,
all.
"Hey, let's meet at this gate" or something like that. And we should have done that in retrospect. I think we tried, but it was just like what the time frame was gonna be like. But it just worked out that way. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think we were like, there's no way we're going to be able to meet or run into each other. And then we actually did. It was crazy. And it was right in front of that one guy on the corner who was saying, "You're all going to hell." And we're like, "Yeah, we're going to hell in a cell." Yeah,
yes. Hell in a cell. Hell in a cell. There was a guy who was a Bible thumping dude who was just trying to get attention or whatever, right? And he was definitely trying to like instigate something with everybody. And he had a sign and he said, "Oh, this WWE is a haven of sin and depravity. And if you're here, you're foregoing the devil, and you should be like overzealous religious guy." Yeah. And leave it to you smart ass wrestling fans to start. They were yelling about the Undertaker. They were yelling about they're like God's just angry because he lost to Vince McMahon. I remember someone saying that.
Oh my gosh. That was And that happened in WWE, which is hilarious. But
if we keep talking about this, we're gonna get an email from somebody saying, "Talk about Crown Jewel." All right, so let's talk about this WWE Women's Championship match: Bianca Belair versus Iyo Sky. Iyo Sky got the belt off her. Some people think that it's Bianca belt. It's her belt to win back. That this was just a holdover to give Bianca a break while she took a vacation and worked on a reality show that isn't out yet. So do you think the belt just goes back to Bianca? I think there's some shenanigans, and Iyo gets out of Saudi Arabia with the title.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's too early to have Iyo lose it. I don't know. I could definitely see Bianca retaining right here. She was such a strong champion. But like you said, Bailey's going to have her hand in this. I wouldn't be surprised if Dakota Kai, gets her hand in it as well. And Iyo Sky, I do see her retaining here as well. I'm not doing this to agree. This is what I was thinking before the episode too, that it's too soon for Bianca Belair to come back and just get the title just like that.
She was around the SmackDown title right away. She was around the Raw Women's title right away.
Yeah.
I don't think especially with the women, I think some people are always like, they have to have a title. If they don't have the title, they don't have anything. I don't think that's the case. I think you need some storylines with the women that aren't just pertaining to championships, but personal issues.
And the women's division's getting stronger. Sorry, Kevin. I mean, Jade Cargill coming over and stuff too. It's
they got her everywhere. They have her on every single TV show, right?
Yep.
They have her on every single TV show. She's been on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Yep. Almost every show for the last 2-3 weeks. The big rollout with her. Have they announced her debut match? They haven't said she's going to be in the ring on this date.
I haven't heard that yet. And
and there's a lot of people expecting it might be at Survivor Series, right?
Yeah,
I could see that being the non-Survivor Series cage match you do that isn't a big title match. They have a big debut for her, but they're really trying to show we're gonna get somebody from AEW and make them a big star, and she has the name that she had in AEW, and they have the big rollout. And she gets to interact with all the big names, and it's gonna be something. They're gonna do some big stuff with her.
Definitely.
Let's get into these other big matches here. John Cena's having a match in Saudi Arabia. It's a really, really big deal, but he's only here for a little while. They're teasing the idea, and they've brought this up. He's not won a match on pay-per-view for WWE in years. And mind you don't get him all the time, but he's wrestled at least one match a year for WWE, even though he kind of went full-time. They have the actors strike, so he kind of opens up the window for him to be on TV more. He was only wrestled a handful of times and did the Fastlane pay-per-view. And a very underrated tag match, by the way. I thought that was a very fun tag match, him versus the Bloodline. But now the biggest match of Solo Sikoa's career here. He gets to take on John Cena. Solo could take the loss. Cena needs a win. Send people home happy. Make Cena seem interesting before you send him away again, because I think hopefully they have more time with him on this to do some type of angle, because he said once this strike ends, I'm going back to Hollywood and I have to go back and resume my commitments.
No, he straight up says it. So I think it's it's now or never with Cena, and he said it the other night. This is a must win for him. He hasn't won in a long time, and he's been putting superstars over for a minute now. He let Austin Theory beat him at WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
In a match, I remember you and I talking afterwards. Some people were disappointed with that match. They thought it was fine, And you also, everyone thinks, you open the show, you're in a bad spot. No, it's a great spot. You want to, everyone I've talked to in WWE said the worst spot you want to be in is second or third on a pay-per-view match. You want to be in the first show, you want to be in the first match, or the main event, or the second to last match. Those are the three spots you want. Definitely. You do not want to be the second match, because the adrenaline's coming down and then it has to come back up. So they put him in a tough spot. For him, because he's John Cena, and Austin Theory won with shenanigans. But I remember some people feeling they were just kind of underwhelmed by the match. They didn't think it was as good as it could be. And I think he has something to prove in terms of, are we going to get big match Johnny? Are we going to get the John Cena we got in 2015, 2017? He's kind of alluded that his body is only going to allow him to do things in a certain way, and that kind of what you saw at Survivor Series is what you're going to get out of him. And so I wonder how this works and what craft you can do, because they've only had him in tag matches, really, And he did do the match with Roman Reigns last summer, or the summer before when they came back. And the match was good. I will say that. He was good in that match. But there's some people I noted that the speed wasn't there. But he still has the power and the strength, and that's fine. There's plenty you can do with that, But you have him in there with Solo, who's explosive, but Solo's not a run the ropes, high flyer type guy. And Cena is he's a grounded base strong guy, and so is Solo. So you kind of have two guys that are the same style. So I think they're gonna have to really lean on John Cena's ability to just connect with an audience that's cared about him forever, and do the fire up babyface type thing. Play the hits. I think that's what you're getting here.
Definitely. And your point, you made the point that I was gonna make exactly. Coming off of that loss in WrestleMania, that was underwhelming. That's just another huge reason why Cena has to come out, be strong, get this win, just in case Hollywood comes calling back, because who knows, the next time we'll see Cena in a singles match after this if the strike goes up, So
Exactly.
I think it's now or never with Cena.
Yeah, because a lot of it's gonna be making up for lost time when the strike ends.
Yep.
Let's talk about this. Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. This is an example of the ongoing issues between Cody Rhodes and the Judgment Day. I do think this will be the match that plays the most into Survivor Series.
Mhm.
I could see Cody picking up the win. Damian's Mr. Money in the Bank. He can take the loss. I don't think the result of this matters much. I think this is the one that's the real setup for stuff for Survivor Series. I think this match will serve the purpose of being the bridge gap with whatever the finish may be. I could see Cody winning in a roll-up, but it won't be like a defining win for either guy. And you also have him being Mr. Money in the Bank. That's an issue here too. I think Damian losing means he could cash in. So there's a lot of things here, but I do think the post-match is some type of setup for Cody leading a squad against the Judgment Day and Bloodline at Survivor Series. That's the way I see this one going.
Yeah, me too. And I see Jay getting involved in this one too. I think the Judgment Day is going to be out there. Cody's going to be outnumbered, but here comes Jay to the rescue. And like you said, it's going to set up something for Survivor Series.
But they've done that on TV like a lot, though, right?
Yeah, they have. They've
done
that
on SmackDown. They've done that on SmackDown Raw, and it's good for TV. But is that good for premium live event? Is it good for pay-per-view when you got to have the big match with the big finish? You can do some dusty finishes, mind you. I think enough of the show will have that, so you kind of do want a storyline continuity, continuation, build up anticipation, something else. And I do think this is the one where you can do the, dusty shit finish and do something where somebody gets cheated or there's a flash pin, which isn't the dustiest finish, but somebody gets rolled up and they lose it. So this is the one where the consequence of it has the least, just as long as the match is good and it shows you're going to have Cody going to war with these guys. He's really good. He's all right. That's it. I'm going to use my dad's signature. My guys versus your guys' war games. That's why I think this kind of leads to that. Like he declares war games on somebody. Let's talk about this. United States Championship match. Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio. He will be Rey Mysterio on November 5th after this match. He is Rey Mysterio now, but he's taking on one of the biggest celebrities on the internet. One of the celebrities that I think is taking to WWE the best, who's been in these big match situations and has clearly proven that even though he will only wrestle a handful of times a year, that he is quite the sports entertainer. He's doing sports entertainment in real sports recently with boxing. Some people think his most recent boxing match with Dennis was a little bit of worky. Some people tell me that one was not on the level. Did you just see the fight at all? Did you get to check out that?
I didn't watch that fight, honestly, but my brother did, and he said the same thing. And with the Paul brother fights, I feel like there's always something weird. Like there's a stipulation in the contract where with a few of these fights that Jake Paul has fought where there's a no knockout clause, and it's like, what? Like you're boxing, what? And then there's been other times where they're saying, Woodley took the hit and fell for money and whatnot. But with these Paul brother fights in boxing, there's always something weird in general. That's just how it goes for me. I don't know.
Something's not on the level. But in wrestling, it's like, great. We already know the show. So there's less issues with it. And also he's good at it. Every time I see him, I don't want to like him. Okay, that makes me they tried to make him a babyface and they got smart and they understood that people will boo him. And also Logan embraces the boos and he likes it. But then it's also the Roman thing where it's like, well, if you like me, you can come and cheer me. And if you like me and you like that people don't like me and you're cheering for me, but you like seeing other people boo me, you're not quiet. No one's quiet when Logan's out there. All right. So if people are quiet, you're not over. Now, if you go out there and you're over like Rover, and also really casual people just want to see you get beat up. And I also think casual people can tune in WWE and be like, oh, Rey Mysterio. Even if I haven't watched in years. Right. And Rey's easy to love. But Roman is the playbook here. And it's, you can be over with some, but you need to be hated by most. And you're loved maybe because you're hated, right? Yep. That's the way this works with Logan. And I do think he wins this belt. I think he does some shenanigans. He does something. You want to hear my crazy thing? Maybe the Judgment Day gets involved here and we get back to Dominic and Rey and we get back to that type of scenario because they've done it and they got away from it. I know they did Dominic and Rey forever. They did it for like over a year. And guess what? I was always on board with it. Everyone said it went on too long. I was like, no, but when you got to WrestleMania, everyone ate that thing up. You were in that crowd, dude. Yeah. California ate out of their hands. And about 5 years ago, I spoke to Ray and I did an interview with him, and I've interviewed Dominic since. And when I interviewed Ray, this was like 2018 and 19, right when he comes back to WWE. And he had an injury, unfortunately, right after he came back, and had done some stuff with Dominic. And the idea was at that time to him, and he's like, the entire idea of the next few years of my career is not about me. It's just about me creating something for my son.
Yeah.
And handing on my legacy to him and possibly my mask. And I was like, whoa, let's go there. What is that scenario like? Where do you want that to happen? He goes, I want a match involving my son in some way or another where I get to pass on my legacy and name to him in some way at WrestleMania or have it. And he almost kind of had that. But the thing is, things change, right? Plans change, pal. And the audience kind of wanted to turn on Dom. And it was the smart thing to do. And they said yes to what was real there. And they embraced it. And I do think they can go the other way and have Ray finally beat some sense into his son. I think if you do Ray versus Dominic at WrestleMania again, I think people would still be on board with it. And I think you could do some cool stuff. Yeah. And maybe get back to that. Maybe get back. That's my idea. Logan with this title makes this title mean so much more. It's predictable, but good predictable. Logan winning this is good predictable in my eyes.
Yeah, I would like to see it, and I do think that he wins. And
just for the heat, right? Just for the heat alone.
And didn't you brought up Dominic getting back to Ray? Didn't Dom just come out this last week and talk to Logan? And you know that they're already working that angle, like you said. So
tease, baby, tease. You know what I mean? And also, anytime Dominic says anything about his father, boo! He can't cut a promo without getting booed. Keep the heat going. And I know some people say like, "Oh, we'll take that energy and apply it to someone else." You know what I mean? To him, he's always going to be in the shadow of his father. He never beat his dad. He didn't beat his father. He hasn't beaten his father in a match. And I think once you start playing on that idea of it, I do think I know we're getting into fantasy booking.
Hey,
they got to do the mask. They have to do the mask versus hair thing at some point. They got to get there. And I'll get even crazier. I know I'm getting fantasy booking. It's not Dom's hair that's on the line. You know, the old lucha thing is hair versus mask.
Yeah.
Right? If I beat you, I get your mask. And that's like, I get the legacy. I get the name. I'm Rey Mysterio. You're just Oscar Gutierrez. Or you're just Oscar. You know, I'm the King Mysterio. You know, I'm no longer the Prince. You know, people call him the Prince, right? And I get the mask and I have that. But if you lose the hair, what if it isn't Dom's hair? Rhea's hair.
I knew you were going there. That would be,
and also I do think at some point they do Rhea versus Ray. They do an intergender match on a big pay-per-view. Rhea is the one person you can do that match with, and people go ape.
Yeah, I think
overall Crown Jewel, thumbs up. The last few Saudi Arabia shows, even with all these social political issues, have been fun shows. You know, not great. There's still some weird things about how they do the shows and the commercial for Riyadh summer season and stuff like that. Some people turn their eyes towards it. It's a wrestling show. It's going to have ads in it. No big deal.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. Maybe I don't think we get a Slim Jim Battle Royal on this one. Maybe. I don't know. See what happens with that. Yeah. So this is our first show. I thought this was fun. We just run down wrestling, just kind of break out of it and chat a little bit. We were going to do Drew later, but I was like, no, we got it right now. I'm just covering it.
Yeah. Now. We covered it. It was good. It was fun. And hopefully tell people who are here, tell your friends about this. This is something new. We'll be back weekly, hopefully moving forward, and it'll just get much better from here. So,
and we'll figure it out too. We'll get more of your comments on screen. I know there's some people that would watch me on the Sportskeeda Top Story show that I would do. I know you got to check that out before you work with us together, and we would do a lot of interaction with that. But this is another way to kind of adapt that and kind of ramble a little bit more. That's why we have the rambles in there. We wanted to have it be a little loosey goosey. We're not tied. We're not tied to the pinpoints on the screen. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and get in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Go ahead and hit the like button. Also, turn on your notification because we don't do a lot of live stuff on this specific YouTube channel. So if you watch this stuff and check it out, or if you want to listen to it on demand, go ahead and get the podcast, which is available wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Just search Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin Kellam. That is Nick Harksen. And as we always say, Sportskeeda Wrestling, rings and rambles. we ask that you out there take a big, deep breath. Like me, scream your reality booking into existence. And if it doesn't happen, you can blame billionaires that don't know your name at all. All right? You can do that. It's okay. But just enjoy wrestling. Can I get a yeah before we get out of here?
Yeah.